Because of the lockdown and things here, I've spent a lot of time pottering around the house and playing with the plants and stuff like that, and I wanted to share some vegetables and herbs and things which are going to be really easy for you to grow at home. And I would also like to say a big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Whenever I share these on my Insta stories, I always get so many questions like, how did you get that to sprout? How did you get that to grow? And I just thought I'll put together a video. This is not an exhaustive list of all the ones I've done, but just the ones which are really easy for you to grow from home. I wanted to start off with a really simple one, although it can be fickle sometimes, but I've figured out a method. I'm going to talk specifically about basil, but mint and coriander, or cilantro, whatever you call it, will also grow the same way. So basil, regularly incorporated into your diet, can help with your digestion. It's an anti-inflammatory, it has benefits for your skin, it can promote a healthy gut, and it also helps with liver function. A lot of herbs are really quite easy to regrow, so when you get them, you want to make sure that there's like 2 to 3 inches worth of stem left on the plant, and then you can actually pop them into a glass of water. When new roots start to sprout, that's when you can transfer them into a pot of soil, or what I've actually been finding works really well for my basil, because basil is like a thirsty plant. It seems to want so much water all the time, and I'm someone who I tend to forget to water rather than over watering. So for me, eventually I'd always kill it. What you can actually do to help prevent this is just make sure that the basil stays in the water. You might want to elevate it a little bit because you don't want the stems sitting in too much water because that can cause them to rot. You just want the roots in the water. So as you can see, I have this little glass and I just try to make sure that the water is clean, and I fill it up every couple of days. If you're taking cuttings from an existing plant, what you want to do is take the cutting and then remove the bottom leaves, keep the few at the top, and take off any flowers that might be on the stem as well. Just pop it, same again, into a clear jar with some water, and it likes to have bright indirect light, so not that harsh burning sunlight. Not many plants really like that. Nice indirect light a majority of the day. Something like a windowsill is usually a good idea. Once you've grown it again yourself, you can use it to top pizza. You can turn it into fresh homemade pesto. You can just chop it up and put it on your avocado toast. If you want to get really fancy with it, chop it up and mix it into some butter and refrigerate it so you can use it on meats, on breads, or even to cook your eggs with. The next one, lettuce, is surprisingly easy to grow. It'll work well on a sunny window spot or on a balcony, and you can grow it in a pot if you want to. We have 3 rabbits and I feel like they eat more lettuce than we do, so it's so worthwhile for us to regrow it because then they have a plentiful supply. So then, just for context, so no one comes for me, majority of their diet is hay, but then they get a little bit of pellets and they get a little bit of mix of vegetables and things each day as well. You can start your lettuce from seeds if you want, and they do like to be kept in a humid environment, but what I even find works, especially if you just want to keep regrowing and work off the same piece, is when you have a lettuce like a gem lettuce or something which has the base still attached, chop off the top, use the top in your salads, or in our case the bunny food, or whatever it is you're using them for, then prop the very bottom of the lettuce into some clean water. Over time it will form roots, and then you can plant it into some soil. Once it starts forming roots, you'll also start to notice new growth coming out of the top of the head of lettuce. And then what I like to do is let that grow, chop it back, let it grow, chop it back, and we just keep repeating this cycle. Imagine taking the nutrients from a whole bunch of vegetables and squishing it down into one tiny vegetable that you can throw on top of your meals. That's what microgreens are. They're really dense in nutrients and plant compounds. These are probably one of the best and one of the easiest vegetables which you can grow at home, and you do not even need an outside area to grow them. I would recommend starting these from seeds. They germinate really quickly, so you don't need to worry about waiting, 8 weeks for anything to grow. When it comes to soil, I like to use a really fine seed raising mix and put them into a shallow container. They're ready to harvest and use when the proper leaves pop up on top of the microgreens. Spring onions are an excellent source of vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin C, and folate. Plus, they pack a good little hit of flavor when you want to put them on top of a dish. Perhaps you bought some of these, you've got some left in the fridge, and they go all soggy and you can't use them. Before they get to that point, like as soon as you buy them, bring them home and put them in a jar of water. Just the roots, you don't want too much of the stem in the water. Then as you want to eat them, cut them back. Make sure you're leaving a couple of inches of stem at the bottom. Don't cut them right down to the roots. And then they'll literally just sprout from there again. If you want to plant them in soil, you can. I'd recommend planting them with some kind of support because they will start to lean over. I had one growing in soil last year, but what I've been doing this year is just leaving them in the water and they just keep regrowing. Now we have celery, which is rich in vitamins and nutrients. It'll help support your digestion, and it's a great source of antioxidants from your diet as well. This one's very similar in growth pattern to the lettuce when you want to regrow it anyway. So what we want to do is when you use the celery, just leave a few inches at the bottom, and after a couple of weeks it will sprout roots, and you'll also see it will sprout new growth from the middle. Let that growth in the middle grow out for a few weeks, even up to a month, to let it thicken out before you decide to plant the celery. You might also find that some of the outer edges of the stems start to become a bit soggy and not so nice. As that starts to happen, make sure you're just taking those off because we don't want that sitting in the water. Now, the next one is lemons. I love my lemon trees. I think they're so pretty. Now, I bought mine a little bit more in advance because I wasn't patient. Absolutely can grow them from seeds, but I bought mine when they already had the woody stem and they were reasonably advanced. If you're starting them small, start them in a small pot. If you're getting them as a tree, give them a really big pot. They seem to like to have a lot of root space. They also will want to be fertilized with a citrus mix, and they really, really need the sun. So I put mine out on the balcony. We don't have any cover on our balcony, so they get sun pretty much all day on the days that it is sunny here. Having an endless supply of these is fantastic. You can pair them with your iron-rich meals to help promote better iron absorption from the meals you're eating. Easiest way to do that is just squeeze some lemon in some water. It doesn't actually detoxify your body. Your liver already does an absolutely beautiful job of that already. Just put it with a meal that's rich in iron. Get all the benefits from that meal. And as most of you probably know, it's a great source of vitamin C. A lot of conventionally farmed fruits and vegetables will not actually fruit bear if you plant the seeds, so find an organic lemon, get a friend who has a lemon tree and take the lemon and cut that one if you want to grow it from a seed. And in order to do this, you want to keep the seed really moist, so make sure that when you're planting it, the soil has already been wet. You want to take all the pulp off the seed and plant it as quickly as you can. Make sure it's not soaking, make sure the soil is just damp. It'll take about 2 weeks to sprout, and I find that they really seem to react to being fertilized. Okay, this one is easy, with me also prefacing and saying it will take you like a few months to get any yield. So I have this really big container and I haven't refilled it. I'm just prepping the sweet potatoes now, which you'll see in the video. I'm getting them ready to plant in the spring. The last place we lived, I don't know if you guys saw in some of my older videos, I have this big wooden planter container. I now have it down in the backyard, but I planted some sweet potatoes in there, and when we moved, because it was up on the first level, so our old place was like it was narrow but tall, and it was up on a balcony. That was a big mistake on my behalf, but I had to empty out the whole planter so that we could move it, because otherwise it was like 200 and something kilos. So I had to take it out, all the soil, and I swear there was like 30 sweet potatoes in there. I was just like, oh my god, because half of them were a good size and half of them were a bit too small, and I was like, I wish I could have kept it in there, but we're gonna plant them again this year, and the planter is in a reasonable spot this time. If you are in an apartment, get yourself a planter box. Make sure it's deep, make sure it's wide, and make sure it's in a place that will get a lot of sunlight and that will get rain, or you can water it. Sweet potatoes don't grow like regular potatoes. Like a regular potato you can throw in the dirt and it's gonna give you a bunch of potato plants. A sweet potato you actually need to grow from the slips. If you just try planting the potato, it will grow a plant, but it won't give you any sweet potatoes. If your sweet potato has gone a little bit wild in your cupboard and it's already started growing slips, brilliant, you're miles ahead of the rest of us. If yours haven't reached that level, you can force it to grow slips. Now you need to look at the sweet potato and figure out which side is the bottom and which side is the top. The pointier end is the top and the flatter end is the bottom. What we're going to do is take some toothpicks or something just to hold it in place and put the bottom of the sweet potato in the water, and it's going to start to grow some slips. And what you can actually do is twist them off the potato, and it's these slips with their own individual root systems which you're going to plant. I would advise against planting these just directly in your garden because it will take over. Once they get going, they go absolutely crazy. So nutritious, they're great for your gut health. Sweet potato is actually one of my favorite carb sources. I think I eat them almost every day, especially if you cook them with some salmon and make the skin really crunchy, and then you bake the sweet potato and it's soft in the middle. Oh, so good. Love that combination. As many of you already know, I love incorporating fresh ingredients like this into my recipes, and I have them all available on my blog Eat Run Lift. I wanted to thank Squarespace again for sponsoring today's video. They helped me create more content for you guys. In just a moment, I'll show you a little preview of my personal journal, which does have a plant FAQ post, which I put up recently. I built this and my health blog completely in Squarespace, and I've been using them for about 6 years now. They combine everything into one place. They make it very easy for you to get the work done. They have pre-built templates, which are absolutely stunning. You can take them, you can customize them to suit your branding. You can set up all your email and your e-commerce in the one place, and you can automatically sync your posting to your social media so you can let everyone know when you have something new to share. And I do have a discount code for you. It's 10% off if you follow the link which I'll put up on the screen. If you need a new place to put your brand, band, blog, or portfolio that has built-in e-commerce, scheduling, and email to take the stress and the hassle out of the web design and jump over to Squarespace and give them a try today. I hope you guys have fun with these. These ones are pretty easy to grow. They really don't require much maintenance. I know some fruits and vegetables can be really finicky and you need to be paying attention to them like every day, like my strawberries. If you can't get them to grow the first time, don't doubt yourself. Keep at it if you really want to get some, because you got to remember there's a whole heap of different factors, like what's the temperature of sunlight coming into your house, what season is it at the moment, all these sort of things. So give yourself a couple of goes before you give up on them. I hope you guys are well, and I hope we can catch up again in my next video, or jump on over, come find me on Instagram or TikTok. My username is @RachelAust. Oh yeah, jump in, let's chat. Leave me a comment. Are you growing any fruits and veg or anything like that at home? What have you found the easiest to grow? I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!